Most people chase peace as if it comes from the outside. Stoicism teaches the opposite. Peace is a skill, trained daily. The Stoic habits of Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus will show you how to build inner strength no matter the chaos. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius wrote those words almost 2,000 years ago, and yet most people today live as if they've never been said. You go through your days chasing circumstances you can't fully control, waiting for the noise to die down, waiting for life to hand you a moment of peace. But here's the hard truth. Calm will not arrive when the world finally behaves. It will arrive only when you train yourself to remain steady in the middle of its chaos. You might think that once the inbox is clear, the bills are paid, the relationships are stable, and the news stops sounding like a disaster, then you'll finally relax. But that's a fantasy. The Stoics knew life doesn't work that way. Marcus faced political unrest, war, and personal loss. Seneca endured exile and betrayal. Epictetus was born into slavery. They didn't wait for the world to become gentle. They built their calm as a form of defense. They treated peace of mind not as a mood to be stumbled upon, but as a discipline to be trained every single day. If you look at your own life honestly, you'll see why this matters. How often do you begin your day already tense, reacting to the first inconvenience like it's a personal attack? A late train? A short email? A careless comment? And suddenly, your mood is decided for you. That's because you haven't fortified the one territory you actually control, your mind. Without preparation, you become easy prey for the smallest disturbance. And here's the paradox. The more you depend on external conditions for calm, the less capable you are of holding on to it when those conditions inevitably change. The Stoics would say that what you tolerate in your mind each morning becomes the tone of your life. If you allow your thoughts to scatter at the first noise, you're already defeated before you've even faced the day's real challenges. But if you set your principles before the world sets its demands, you've already won half the battle. This is why Marcus Aurelius began his mornings anticipating resistance, not to dampen his spirit, but to sharpen it. When you expect the world to test you, you stop being surprised when it does. So ask yourself, are you waiting for peace to be given to you, or are you building it for yourself? This is not a matter of personality, it's a matter of practice. Anyone can train to become calm under pressure, but like any discipline, it requires deliberate effort. The question is whether you're willing to start before you feel ready, or whether you'll keep waiting for the perfect conditions, which, as you already know, will never come. If you find value here, subscribe. It's a small click for you, but it helps us share more timeless Stoic wisdom with the world. And now, I'd like to hear from you. Which do you think is harder? A, controlling your thoughts, or B, controlling your emotions? Leave your answer in the comments. Your perspective might help someone else think differently about their own struggle. Because here's the thing, this isn't just philosophy to admire from a distance. It's a framework you can live by if you choose to practice it. The habits you repeat each day are either preparing you to be calm or guaranteeing that you won't be. And yet, there's a principle Marcus Aurelius lived by that most people ignore until it's too late. Most of the stress you feel doesn't come from what actually happens to you. It comes from the story you tell yourself about it. That's the part few people want to admit, because it means the source of your frustration isn't out there in the world. It's in here, in your own interpretation. The event is real. The meaning you attach to it is optional. You might not like hearing that, but the Stoics insisted on it, because the alternative is giving every inconvenience, every careless remark, and every unexpected outcome the power to decide your state of mind. Epictetus said, "It's not things that upset us, but our judgments about them." You've experienced this already. Someone cuts you off in traffic. Your first thought might be, "They disrespected me." The truth? You don't actually know why they changed lanes. It could have been an emergency, or they didn't see you at all. Yet the story you chose sets the emotional tone for the next 10 minutes or the next hour. This is what makes self-deception so dangerous. You're convinced you're responding to reality, when in fact, you're reacting to a version of events your mind has edited. The more often you do it, the more believable your version becomes, until it feels like truth. That's why people can live in constant tension without realizing it's largely self-inflicted. Seneca warned about the danger of rushing to judgment, because a mind that leaps to conclusions is a mind in chains. The chain is not the event itself, but the unquestioned belief that your first interpretation is correct. A careless tone from a coworker turns into, "They have a problem with me." A delayed reply from a friend becomes, "They don't value me." These are mental reflexes, not reasoned conclusions. The Stoic discipline is to slow that reflex down. Before you let the story run, you ask, "What else could this mean?" This isn't naive optimism. It's an intentional check on the mind's habit of writing dramas without evidence. You don't have to force a positive spin. You just have to refuse to lock yourself into the most harmful one. Over time, this shift changes the way you experience almost everything, because it cuts the direct link between external events and your internal state. You can practice this right now. Think about the last time you felt wronged, overlooked, or insulted. Now imagine stripping away your interpretation until only the bare fact remains. The meeting started late. The email had no greeting. The person didn't smile when they walked past you. That's it. Without the extra narrative, notice how much lighter it feels. You haven't changed the event. You've removed the fuel that made it burn. If you know someone who needs this message, share this video with them. You might change their day, or even their life. Because here's the uncomfortable reality. Your mind is telling stories all the time, and not all of them are true. The more you accept them, without question, the more you surrender control over your own peace. The Stoics trained to reclaim that control by mastering the gap between event and judgment. And once you understand how to do that, you're ready for a different kind of challenge. The one that requires stepping toward what you've been avoiding instead of backing away. That's where the next principle comes in, a habit the Stoics used to dismantle fear before it had the chance to grow into something unmanageable. You can't outrun fear without strengthening it. Every time you avoid what makes you uncomfortable, you're rehearsing helplessness. It's a paradox most people don't want to face. The instinct to protect yourself from discomfort is the same instinct that eventually makes you weaker. The Stoics understood this long before modern psychology gave it a name. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." He wasn't dismissing fear. He was warning about what happens when your mind rehearses dangers that never arrive, while your actions avoid the small challenges that would prepare you for the real ones. Think about the situations you've been avoiding lately. A conversation you keep postponing, because it might get tense, a decision you delay because it feels uncertain. Each time you push it away, your mind quietly records, "This is dangerous. We don't face this." That's not caution, it's conditioning. Over weeks and months, those moments pile up, and without realizing it, you've taught yourself to react to ordinary challenges with the same tension you'd reserve for a genuine threat. The Stoic approach is not to leap into extreme danger, but to deliberately step into controlled discomfort. It's the mental equivalent of training with weights. You don't start by lifting what you can't handle, but you also don't avoid lifting altogether. Epictetus advised his students to seek out moments that tested their patience, their composure, and their discipline, because those moments were the gymnasium of the mind. You could do the same today, in ways so small they might seem trivial. Speak up in a meeting where you'd normally stay quiet. Go to a social gathering where you know no one. Make the phone call you've been putting off for a week. What happens is more than exposure. It's recalibration. You're teaching your nervous system that discomfort is not danger, and that you remain intact after facing it. The first few times, the experience might still feel tense. That's expected. The Stoics saw this as proof you're in the right territory. The point is not to eliminate the sensation of fear, but to stop letting it dictate your choices. Fear shrinks in proportion to the number of times you face it and survive. The danger of avoiding this practice isn't just that your fear remains, it's that it grows quietly in the background. Over time, it can expand into areas of life that were never threatening in the first place. That's why the Stoics would say the real risk is not in stepping forward, but in retreating until you've walled yourself into a smaller, more fragile existence. If you approach small fears regularly, you develop a reservoir of calm for the larger challenges that inevitably arrive. And when they do, you won't need to improvise your courage. You'll have already trained it. The habit of meeting discomfort head-on becomes part of who you are. If this lesson resonates with you, like this video and subscribe for more timeless Stoic wisdom. Marcus Aurelius once wrote about preparing the mind to face not just uncertainty, but inevitability. The trials you know will come and the ones you can't predict. That preparation wasn't built in moments of crisis, but in the disciplined practice of facing the small tests every day. Next, we'll uncover the mindset he used to remain unshaken, even in the face of death. Your day is already making choices for you the moment you wake up, unless you've already chosen how it will begin. Most people don't realize this. They step into the current without direction, and by noon, they wonder why they feel pulled in every direction. The paradox is that freedom in your day comes from structure, not from leaving the day unplanned. Marcus Aurelius began each morning reminding himself of the people, the challenges, and the temptations he would face. This wasn't pessimism. It was his way of anchoring himself before the demands of the day could decide his mood. He wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive." That reflection wasn't left to chance. It was part of a deliberate ritual. When you start your day without intention, you let the first email, the first notification, or the first minor inconvenience dictate your mental state. From there, you're reacting, not leading. That's the cost of inaction. You give away the small, unseen moments that set the tone for everything else. And the more often you do it, the less you notice it happening. A simple morning anchor can be as brief as 3 minutes. A short journal entry, a deep breath by the window, or silently reviewing the principles you want to live by today. These small acts are not trivial. They are the mental equivalent of checking your compass before setting sail. Without them, you risk drifting into waters you never meant to reach. The Stoics valued preparation over improvisation. Epictetus advised, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. The habit of defining who you are at the start of the day isn't about ambition. It's about alignment. Without it, you spend your energy putting out fires that would never have started if you had built the right foundation. You can begin tomorrow. Choose one habit to mark the start of your day, something that steadies you and reminds you of your role in the world. Protect it fiercely. It's easy to tell yourself you'll start when life feels calmer, but that's a lie dressed up as patience. If you keep delaying, opportunities won't just pass by. They will never return. The moments when your mind is fresh are too valuable to spend on distractions. Anchoring your day with intentional habits doesn't guarantee the day will go as planned, but it guarantees you'll meet it on your terms. Over time, these small beginnings accumulate into a kind of quiet strength that can't be taken from you because you built it one morning at a time. Marcus Aurelius understood that a strong start is not a luxury, it's a responsibility. And this discipline leads naturally into the next principle, one the Stoics treated as essential for peace of mind: the ability to see what you already have with clear eyes and to value it fully before it is gone. Gratitude is often treated as an afterthought, something you acknowledge when everything is going well or when prompted by a holiday. But for the Stoics, gratitude was a daily practice, not because life was always pleasant, but because they knew how quickly the things you take for granted can disappear. Present gratitude is not about ignoring challenges or pretending difficulties do not exist. It is about training your perception to recognize what is valuable before loss forces you to notice it. Most people postpone gratitude, thinking they will feel it once life meets certain conditions: the right job, the right relationship, the right amount of money. The paradox is that waiting for these external milestones almost guarantees you will never truly feel grateful, because once they arrive, your mind will immediately set new conditions. This moving target keeps satisfaction out of reach, no matter how much progress you make. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do not indulge in dreams of what you have not, but reckon up the chief of the blessings you do possess." This is not just a poetic sentiment. It is a method for mental stability. By taking stock of what is already in your hands, you anchor your well-being to something you control, your perspective, instead of something you cannot, the future. Gratitude becomes a form of self-discipline, an intentional habit that keeps you from being enslaved by endless desire. In practical terms, present gratitude can be as simple as pausing to acknowledge the ordinary. The ability to read these words, the fact that you woke up this morning, the presence of someone in your life who would notice if you were gone. These moments seem small, but they are the building blocks of resilience. When you train yourself to notice them, you create an internal buffer against stress and disappointment. The challenge is that the mind resists this practice. It prefers novelty over familiarity, always scanning for what is missing rather than appreciating what is present. Without conscious effort, your attention will be pulled toward problems, flaws, and comparisons. all of which erode gratitude. The Stoic solution is to redirect your focus, not by denying the existence of problems, but by deliberately giving weight to what is good right now. You might start and end your day with a simple inventory of 3 things you value in the present moment. This is not about positive thinking in the shallow sense, but about sharpening your awareness so you see the reality of your life more clearly. Over time, this clarity makes you less reactive to loss because you have already learned to appreciate things while you had them. Seneca warned that nothing is ours except time, and once time passes, it cannot be reclaimed. Practicing gratitude in the present is, in essence, an acknowledgement of time's value. It is a refusal to overlook what is here in pursuit of what is not. The question is whether you will train this perception now, or wait until absence forces you to learn it. In just one sentence, share the Stoic principle you live by. In this video, we have explored how deliberate Stoic routines, rooted in discipline, awareness, and purposeful action, can help you calm your mind, strengthen your inner resilience, and navigate life's challenges without being ruled by external chaos. The central takeaway is simple yet powerful. Calm is not a gift you wait for. It is a state you build through consistent practice. At its heart, Stoicism teaches that your mind is the only true domain you control. And by shaping your habits around this truth, you gain the ability to meet each day with stability and clarity. The lesson here is that even small, intentional actions, such as beginning your morning without distractions, reframing challenges as opportunities, or grounding yourself in present gratitude, are not just philosophical ideals, but practical tools. Applied daily, they create immediate value by shifting your attention from what is outside your influence to what is fully in your power. This shift is not about ignoring difficulties, but about approaching them with a steady mind that cannot be easily shaken. And perhaps the deeper reflection to carry forward is this: while you cannot dictate the events that unfold, you can always dictate the story you tell yourself about them. That story shapes your reality more than the events themselves. The question then becomes, how often do you consciously choose that story, and how often do you let it be chosen for you? In the comments, share the Stoic habit you have found most valuable in your own life, or the one you intend to start practicing today. Subscribe to discover timeless Stoic principles each week and learn how to apply them in real life.